Thank you to our Digital Transformation Forum sponsor, Xledger.
Welcome to our session on reporting transformation for fast growth businesses. My name is Peter. I'm a chartered accountant and senior consultant at Xledger UK. If you've not heard of Xledger, we are a cloud-based mid-market finance system, and our mission is to help accountancy practices to attract and retain larger, more profitable clients. In this session, we'll be looking at reporting transformation for fast growth businesses. We'll be looking at how reporting needs evolve with the size of a client. We'll be looking at how we can meet those evolving needs. And we'll be looking at how to leverage financial transformation as a way to provide your clients with a value-added service. So, why reporting demands grow? I think we all know intuitively that as clients grow, they often become more complex. So they might add multiple budget holders to help them control the organization, or they might have multiple revenue streams, add multiple revenue streams. They might add multiple entities or go into different regions with different currencies and therefore have multi-currency requirements. I also think that as organizations grow, so does their need for this information. So, when we take an entrepreneur when they're starting out, they might very much rely on gut instinct and probably a close eye on the money in their bank account. But when an organization reaches a certain size and complexity, then they really need financial information as a tool to help them provide visibility and control over their organization. And I think many of us, see that in the day-to-day world when, our clients reach a certain size. Many decide to insource their finance departments, and that normally isn't about saving money. It's about trying to retain some element of visibility and control over their organization. So I think we need to sort of ask ourselves, do monthly management accounts provide the necessary information that business owners and business leaders need for agile decision making? And I think the short answer to that is no. If we put ourselves in the shoes of an entrepreneur or business leader, using monthly management accounts for decision making is kind of like being a car in the pouring rain with your windscreen wipers set to super slow. We might only get a snapshot of the road, every 300 meters, and when we do, because monthly management accounts are produced 3 weeks after month ends, then it's really like looking in your rear view mirror, and that just isn't conducive to agile decision making. So clearly the way to provide budget holders and business leaders with the clear view of the road that they need, we need live reporting. But is live reporting a marketing gimmick, or is it a tool that we can practically use for our clients? Now, I have to be honest, when I first came across live reporting as a financial controller, my first thought was, well, yeah, cloud is great. It's great for disseminating information on a live basis, but we know as accountants that those numbers aren't really live until we've posted all our month-end adjustments, and that in itself can take time. And I think, that assertion still holds true. Month-end adjustments are a barrier to live reporting, but whilst it might not be practical or even productive to make 100% of our P&L live, if we can make just 70% of our clients' P&L live, then we're really providing them with an incredibly powerful tool for agile decision making. And I'd like to say that live reporting is possible. We have clients doing it, partners doing it, and I'd like to take you through the steps of how this is achieved. So there are a number of steps involved. The first one, unsurprisingly, we need to look at our month-end adjustments and work out how we can remove them. We also need to be able to streamline processes to make sure that information comes into the system fluidly throughout the month. And finally, we need to look at self-service information to ensure that we disseminate that information to business leaders and budget holders on a real-time basis. So firstly, let's look at monthly management accounts. We know that every client has a slightly different month-end processes, but there are also sort of categories that these month-end processes tend to fit in. So we have our accounting adjustments, things like prepayments and accruals. We have allocations and reallocations, taking something out of one pot and redistributing it over other pots. We have review and adjustment journals for any errors and mistakes. And finally, we have the collation of information from disparate systems, where there might not be a fluid integration in place. Now, with many of these month-end journals, they can be removed with automation. So if we take accounting adjustments, a really good example of that is the prepayments journal. So what we most likely do at the moment is we take an invoice for £12,000 that relates to 3 periods. We chuck the whole value, £12,000, into one period, and that at the end of the month, we remove 9,000 and prepay it as part of the month-end process. Now, with automation, what we can do is at the point we put that purchase invoice into the system, we can tell the system what periods it relates to and get the system to automatically do that prepayment and spread of the transaction for you. So what that means is that at the moment the invoice gets posted into the system, only the correct amount is going into that period, facilitating live reporting. We can do the same thing with accruals. And with things like reallocation adjustments, we can train a system to take something out of one account or a bunch of cost centers and automatically distribute it over another set of accounts. I think when it comes to review and adjustment journals, we're not at the position yet where we can completely remove the need to correct mistakes. But I think it's fair to say that the more that we can automate processes and remove manual intervention, the more that we can reduce the risk of errors being made. And finally, the collation of information from disparate systems. So I think companies like Xero have done a really good job in showing how much easier it is to integrate different cloud-based tools. I also think that there's a space for mid-market systems as well, which is worth thinking about, where all of that different functionality is already integrated within one system. Okay, so step number 2, streamlining processes. So yes, we need to remove month-end adjustments, but what we tend to do as accountants is all of our processes are around month-end, because that's the point that we do our reporting. So a great example of this is expenses. We might have a manual expenses process, and we might say to our employees, please could you submit all your expenses by the end of the month? In which case all the employees gather all their expenses and they submit them at the end of the month, which then need to be manually entered into the system at month end. So the numbers are only correct at month end. If we use an expenses system, we can make it much easier for employees to submit their expenses as they're going along by taking pictures of their expenses when they're out and about. we can use in-system workflows so that employees and managers can easily approve those expenses. So at the point that they approve them, they go into the system. And if we can have that happening fluidly throughout the month, we can facilitate the live reporting of those numbers throughout the month. We can also do that with things like workflow, approving invoices and purchase orders. And I think it's a really powerful thing when we can explain to a budget holder that at the moment you approve this purchase invoice, that's when that information updates in your accounts, because it provides a lot of understanding and ownership over their numbers. They understand how they're being generated. And finally, I think it's helpful to look at task-based systems. So we need to know how live our information is, how on top of the numbers we are. And if we understand how many purchase invoices need to be approved, how many expenses need to be approved, how many bank transactions have come into the system but haven't automatically been posted by the system, then we can know how on top of the system we are and stay on top of the system. And finally, reporting and change management. So it's all well and good if we get the month-end adjustments removed and we can ensure that the information is flowing into the system throughout the month. But if we only produce Excel reports and provide them to business leaders once a month, then the whole process becomes relatively fruitless. So one of the things we need to do is to ensure that reports can be generated directly in the system. Now, often clients have complex reports, and one of the things that the tools we need within a finance system to create all the different reports that we need and slice and dice the information in lots of different ways is multidimensional reporting. If we do have multidimensional reporting and we can generate those reports directly in the system, that's fantastic. It means that budget holders and business leaders can drill down, understand those numbers at a granular basis, look at supporting documentation, build confidence and ownership in those numbers. We can also build budget holder dashboards, which means that budget holders only see the information pertaining to particular cost centers or projects. It's also really important that we do training with these budget holders and business leaders so that they understand what information is live and what isn't. So a good example of information that might not be live and might not be productive to make live is wages and salaries, where it might just be useful to post that once a month. So those are the 3 basic steps that we need to facilitate live data. I think in terms of how we leverage that in providing value to our clients, it very much depends on whether or not we're a business process outsourcer or an advisor. If we're a business process outsourcer, then it's really important to look at our own process. How can we help to remove month-end processes and streamline data and provide that data to our clients? If we can, I think it can be incredibly valuable for the clients we already have, but also as providing ourselves with a competitive advantage in attracting new larger clients who see value in live information. Also, I think we can work as business advisors for larger clients that have already taken that information and their processes in-house. We know that facilitating live reporting isn't a quick process. It does involve steps. It involves looking at processes, looking at how we can automate processes. And I think we can add lots of value as business advisors in helping our clients to achieve this. So as a wrap up, what have we looked at today? We've looked at how the value and complexity of financial information grows with growing clients. We've realized that month-end management accounts don't necessarily provide the information or timeliness of information that business leaders and budget holders need to be able to make agile decisions. We've looked at how we can facilitate live reporting by removing month-end adjustments, streamlining processes, and provisioning that data to those people. We've also looked at how we can help our clients as both business process outsourcers and business advisors in adding value to our clients through financial transformation. If you have any questions about today's session, my name is Peter. My email address is peter.hucker@xledger.co.uk. Be more than happy to take any questions. Thanks very much for your time. Cheers.